Sigma men can be easily put off by certain behaviors that others might not even notice. It's not that they dislike people, they just have a lower tolerance for nonsense and superficiality. So, what exactly are these behaviors that get under their skin? Let's dive into 7 common things that Sigma men simply cannot stand. 1. Flattering important people. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to change their behavior as soon as someone important walks into the room? If you're a Sigma, this funny act is something you cannot stand. Imagine you are at a party or meeting and everything is going great. You're having interesting conversations with people, and it's all very genuine and authentic. But then someone important arrives, like the boss or someone higher up in the social hierarchy. Suddenly, everyone's tone changes, and people start acting way nicer than usual. They flash wide smiles, laugh at unfunny jokes, and offer extra help. It's like they put on a whole new persona just to impress the big shot. Sigma men find this incredibly annoying. Can you imagine having to tolerate this kind of behavior daily, especially in the workplace? It's fake and insincere, 2 traits these men cannot stand. They don't see the point in pretending to be someone they're not just to gain favor with someone important. This behavior is incredibly frustrating because it leads to unfair situations. The important person gets all the attention and praise, even if they haven't done anything to deserve it. Meanwhile, others who have been working hard or making valuable contributions are often overlooked or ignored. This is not only obviously rude but also creates a superficial environment where people act based on status rather than merit or who they really are. That's why many people end up being friends with someone's pretend self and not their real self. When the mask eventually comes off, the truth comes out, often leading to disappointment. Sigma men can't stand those who use fake manners or false motives to win people over. While they understand that being polite and professional is necessary in certain situations, they don't believe in behaving way nicer based on someone's status. They treat everyone equally, whether or not they hold a high position. They can see through fake personalities, which makes it even more frustrating when others put on this act. 2. Manipulative generosity. Many people use generosity to manipulate others, and it's more common than you think. This kind of manipulation occurs when someone does something nice for you, but it comes with strings attached. They might give you a gift, offer help, or do a favor, but there's always a catch. The reason people do this is that they want to control you. They think that by being nice, you'll feel like you owe them, and then they can ask you for favors, make you do things, or get you to agree with them. Imagine your friend offers to help you with something. At first, it seems like a nice gesture, but later they keep bringing it up, reminding you of the help they gave and asking for favors in return. They might even set an emotional guilt trap by getting upset or holding a grudge. This is a classic example of manipulative generosity. The Sigma man doesn't want to feel like he's being played. He hates feeling like he owes someone. He is independent and likes doing things on his own terms. When generosity comes with strings, it strips away his freedom. He doesn't like the idea of someone holding a favor over his head. Sigma men would rather reject the gift or favor altogether than feel indebted to someone with ulterior motives. They are quick to spot this, and it really gets under their skin. It's an exhausting game they want no part in, and they'll quickly distance themselves from people who play it. They simply cannot stand when people try to trick or control them. These men prefer genuine generosity, where people do nice things just because they want to without expecting anything in return. They believe in give-and-take relationships but dislike the idea of someone using kindness as a tool to control them. The problem with manipulative generosity is that it creates a fake sense of obligation. It's no longer about wanting to return a favor out of appreciation. It's about feeling pressured to do so because of the manipulation. This can lead to resentment and a breakdown in trust. 3. Playing the victim card. Have you ever noticed how some people always have a sob story ready? Playing the victim card is one of the common things that really irritates Sigma men. People think it's simpler to avoid responsibility and blame their problems on others. They'd rather be seen as helpless victims instead of taking charge of their own actions. Imagine a friend always complaining about their job, saying they have a terrible boss or how often they want to quit. Every time you talk to them, they have a new problem that's always someone else's fault. Even though they've had multiple chances to change jobs, they always end up staying and complaining about it. When you suggest possible solutions or alternatives, they reject them all with a martyr-like attitude, saying how they're trapped and have no choice. Instead of making an effort to improve, they dwell in a victim mindset and expect sympathy. Sigma males find this attitude incredibly frustrating. They hate it when people use their issues as a crutch. It's annoying and also unfair to those who strive to be accountable. When someone continually plays the victim, they're often fishing for pity and avoiding real solutions. This mindset can drag down a team or a friendship as it builds a culture of excuses rather than growth and problem solving. Another example of this behavior might be a friend who always blames their failed relationships on their exes, never admitting to any of their own faults. Playing the victim card also creates an emotional drain. People around them may initially offer support, but over time they grow tired of the recurring tale of woe. Sigma men quickly lose patience with those who consistently avoid taking responsibility for their actions and instead paint themselves as perpetual victims. These men also see playing the victim card as a manipulative move. A person acting helpless might be trying to gain sympathy or manipulate others into doing things for them. This kind of emotional trickery is something Sigma men can instantly spot and deeply resent. While they are compassionate and understanding, they can't stand those who use their struggles as a way to manipulate or gain an advantage. They usually distance themselves from those who play the victim card but never take advice or try to change their situation. 4. Telling the truth selectively. Do you know that person who only tells the part of the story that makes them look good? It's like watching someone write their own hero story but leaving out all the parts where they messed up. Many people say just what they want you to hear, cherry-picking the truth to suit their narrative. This selective truth-telling creates a misleading picture, and it's something Sigma men find really frustrating. Imagine a situation where someone is telling you about a fight they had with a friend or partner. They describe how unfairly they were treated but conveniently forget to mention the harsh words they used or the fact that they started the argument. This kind of selective truth not only distorts reality but also shifts all the blame onto someone else, making it hard to get a full, clear picture of what really happened. Feels like a dirty trick. It's a way for people to lie without actually lying. They might leave out crucial details or twist the story just enough to make it sound different. This behavior breaks down Sigma men's trust. When someone hides the full truth, you start to question everything they say. After all, if they're willing to tweak the truth once, what's stopping them from doing it again? It creates an environment where transparency is lacking and genuine connections become hard to maintain. Being selective with the truth can also make solving problems more tricky. If a team member isn't fully honest about their contributions or mistakes, it makes it challenging to address the real issues. Sigma men prefer straightforward communication where all the facts are laid out. This approach may not always be comfortable, but it promotes real solutions and honest relationships. They are all about integrity and sincerity. When people twist the truth to serve their own purposes, Sigma men feel like they are being manipulated or taken advantage of. 5. Saying one thing and doing another. How many times have you been promised something only to be disappointed when it doesn't happen? It's like having someone dangle a carrot in front of your face and then snatching it away at the last second. You feel frustrated, let down, and start questioning the person's credibility. If you say you're going to do something, then you should follow through. Sigma men see a promise as a commitment. When someone frequently goes back on their word, it's hard to know when to believe them or how much to trust them. It's like they have a track record of letting you down. This behavior also reveals another layer, a lack of integrity. Integrity is about doing what's right regardless of the situation. When someone says one thing and does another, it's simply not in line with who they claim to be. This is unacceptable for Sigma men. You see it all the time. People say they'll show up but then cancel at the last minute. They promise to help but then they're nowhere to be found when you need them. This kind of flip-flopping drives Sigma men absolutely crazy. For a Sigma, words mean nothing if they aren't backed up by actions. 6. Disregard for others' boundaries. Some people just don't care about boundaries. You know the type, they think every door is an invitation and every no is up for negotiation. They think everything should go their way, and space, time, or feelings don't matter. Sigma men value respect and personal space, and when someone ignores these, it feels like a direct slap in the face. Think about work situations where a colleague constantly interrupts your flow, shoving unnecessary tasks your way. Or maybe it's someone who keeps calling or texting despite knowing you're busy. Sigma men find this incredibly irritating. They would never do this to someone else, so they expect the same level of courtesy from others. Unfortunately, not everyone has the same level of understanding or respect for boundaries. That's why Sigma men often prefer to have a smaller, trusted circle of friends rather than being constantly surrounded by people who have no idea where to draw the line. They don't like explaining themselves repeatedly or feeling they must constantly defend their boundaries. They might even walk away from people who don't respect them. 7. Worrying too much about looks. A survey by Ono found that women spend an average of 6.4 hours a week worrying about their appearance, while men spend about 4.5 hours a week. From obsessing over their body shape to trying to keep up with the latest fashion trends, many people put a lot of time and energy into their physical appearance. While it's important to take care of oneself, focusing excessively on looks is something Sigma men find superficial and pointless. Of course, they too want to look presentable and put together, but it's not something they spend hours stressing over. What's worse, people who are too worried about their looks often seem superficial. They might miss out on deep conversations or meaningful connections because they can't get past the surface. Sigma men often struggle to connect with people who are overly focused on their looks. Authenticity trumps good looks every time for them. They are drawn to people with substance, those who have something real to offer. This obsession with looks can also create negative pressure. When people around you are always focused on their appearance, it can make you feel like you must do the same. There's nothing wrong with looking good, but it shouldn't be the sole focus of your life.